You keeping well?
Yeah, not too bad actually. Yeah, just back from. We've actually been rehearsing today, so
Yeah.
doing our socially distant rehearsals
How's that
with the
working out?
band. So yeah, it's all right. Yeah, um, yeah. I mean, yeah, just have to spread our mics out a bit more. But yeah, we've got quite a big year, like in terms of sort of album and tour and all that. So we just kind of wanted to sort of keep the wheels turning.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to ask. I mean, first of all, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
Right.
It's a big year for you guys this year. So, I mean, in terms of a milestone, how's it? First of all, congratulations on the milestone. I mean, 10 years is it's an incredible achievement. How does it feel talking about that?
Yeah, I mean, we're as amazed as everyone else really in terms of like, it seems like quite a hard industry to maintain any kind of longevity. So for us to be sort of working on our seventh album, and I think this is our maybe 10th, 11th tour this year. So yeah, we just feel really lucky, to be fair, and we've got such a great sort of loyal fan base that have stuck by us, and we've had a real journey over the last 10 years. So they've stood by us sort of through it all. So yeah, we just feel really blessed to do what we do, and long way to continue.
Definitely. I mean, going back to the beginning, was there any big master plan, or was it just? I mean, was there a point where you thought, wow, this is really going somewhere?
Well, I think we were sort of five youngish lads, actually not that young, sort of for the industry we're in. When you look at groups like One Direction, but in our late 20s, early 30s, with a fire in our belly, and we obviously we just kept pushing forward. So we've been together sort of 4 or 5 years as a group before we ended up signing to Warner. So it might appear that we kind of just got a lucky break, but ultimately we'd worked really hard for that lucky break. And really fine-tuned what we were doing, which was vocal harmony, and more specifically like doo-wop. Back then, our first album was a doo-wop album. So yeah, I think it's a combination of things like right place, right time, but obviously putting the graft in as well.
Yeah, I mean, what was there any kind of ambition at the start? I mean, what was your goal?
I think we just had a shared passion for like that music of yesteryear. I think obviously we hope for some success, but ultimately we were just happy. We had loads of different jobs to fund kind of what we wanted to do, which was ultimately perform. So we'd be doing that anyway, whether it be like in a pub for 20 people or at the Birmingham Symphony Hall for 2,000 people. Like for us it's kind of, sounds a bit cliche, but it's kind of in our blood. That's what we love doing. So we were, we had 4 or 5 years of lots of doors slammed in our faces, and just sort of carried on, because I think that's the thing. If you've got enough drive and passion, I think, and obviously you need to have the talent, to a certain degree. So I think for us it was like just keep going, and eventually we'll hopefully achieve what we want to achieve, which is sort of success and longevity. And yeah.
I mean, you talked about 4 or 5 years of having doors slammed in your face. First of all, what kept you going? Because it's a brutal industry, and secondly, what was the turning point where those doors kind of stopped getting slammed in your face and people were receptive?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we were like, just not long before we ended up having our break, we were getting to the point of like, right, it's sort of 4 or 5 years now, we're not getting any younger, we need to sort of put food on the table, and like, we're living in London and it's not that cheap living in London. So I don't know how much longer we would have, I mean, I'd like to say we would have just carried on, but ultimately you've got to be realistic. So we were lucky enough to be sort of discovered. We were singing, believe it or not, whilst we were painting and decorating. So 2 of the boys, Mike and Darren, they, like I said, we were doing all sorts of different jobs just to try and make ends meet and to fund what we were doing, which was performing. So Mike and Darren set up this paint and decorating company, and we were all helping out. I mean, I was a bit rubbish. I could make a decent cup of tea. That was about it. But yeah, we had sort of, we also.
You and me both.
Wow, as a northerner, I feel like that was my job. But yeah, so we'd have gigs at the weekend, and in the week we'd be like, doing these decorating jobs or whatever jobs really to try and tide us over. So this particular time we were singing on our break outside these offices in Oxford Circus, and we had this woman walk past who, I mean, we did have people stop because we'd sing anywhere and everywhere. So we did have people sort of, talk to us and make us promises and all that. And so we thought it was just another one of them. But she handed us her card and she said that she worked for A&R for a record company. And we're like, okay. So we ended up following it up, thank goodness. And it turns out she worked for Warner, and they were looking for kind of us, really. That's what they were looking for. So it, like I say, right place, right time.
Yeah. Okay, just going forward then. Last year was a pretty weird year for everybody. What was it like for you guys? Did we
weird? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, last year was our 10-year anniversary officially. So we had a whole year planned. We had 2 tours, so one booked in for the summer, one booked in for Christmas, as well as a new album that we were working on. So yeah, that all just sort of ground to a halt. And obviously we had other gigs as well booked in, like private gigs. And yeah, it was, I mean, I think everyone's been suffering, but in terms of the arts, I think it's been particularly hard, because ultimately it's just not viable, is it? No. So yeah, we just had to sort of regroup and figure out how we're going to sort of navigate sort of lockdown and all that. And we were lucky to have a few socially distant gigs later on in the year, which were a bit of a godsend. But I mean, our main focus has just been like sort of focusing on the new album, recording sort of via, having meetings via Zoom and trying to record remotely, and get into the studio where possible, and just to set us up for this year, which, fingers crossed, if we don't end up we're hoping spring, summer, we'll hopefully be in a better position to start promoting the new album and getting ourselves out there a bit more again.
Yeah, what stage is the album at? I mean, I'm assuming from what you said, it was already kind of written pre-lockdown anyway.
Yeah, it wasn't quite finished. So the new album is it's kind of a celebration of for 10 years, really. So there's sort of nods to the past, present, and also future. So yeah, we've what I suppose what lockdown helped us with was for us to sort of, we had a fixed idea for this album, and it's kind of changed now because we've had all those months to sort of ponder on what else we can bring to the album to make it even better than want it to be. We try and better ourselves with each album, so we want this to be our best yet, which we feel like, hopefully, fingers crossed, people will agree that it is.
Okay, so what can we expect from the album then?
So like I say, it's a celebration of the last 10 years. There's going to be, I think it's fair to say there'll be sort of reimagined versions of our old tracks, like some of our classic covers, more popular classic covers, as well as when we say we have a new member in Jay. He's been with the band, and this is his first album with us. Right. So we'll be celebrating that with some tracks that we've recorded with Jay, but then also we'll be looking to the future, and we've recorded some brand new material, new originals, new covers. So there's a real mixture of things on there, but it was really important for us to sort of, I guess, span the decade and celebrate 10 years in the industry.
Okay, I mean, it leads into my next question. I mean, there's been some real high points throughout your career, and there's been some real, obviously, tragedy as well. for you personally, what has been the particular high point looking back, or a collection of
I
high
mean,
points?
in 10 years, there's been quite a few, as you can imagine. But I mean, I always sort of give the same answer because it was just so unbelievable. But we performed at the Queen's Jubilee in 2012. So I think for me, that was like, you know, an absolute dream come true, a real pinch yourself moment, like performing in front of Buckingham Palace to like 750,000 people down the mall and all waving their flags, and then we got to go to the party afterwards at Lizzie's gaff. So to be there like with Stevie Wonder and Paul McCartney and Elton John, and like it was just insane. Yeah, and a night that I'll never forget, even though it just did feel like a bit of a dream.
It's a good dream to have, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, looking back then to the beginning, I mean, 10 years, you must have learned a lot of lessons about the industry, especially the early days, having a lot of kind of doors slammed in your face. But what's the kind of most important lesson you've learned? And if you could kind of go back to the beginning, is there anything you'd do differently?
No, I mean, we've definitely learned a lot over the last 10 years, but I think for us, at the core of what we do, I feel like we try and be really true to who we are. So, you know, we've all, like from the start, we've always sort of, you know, we've chosen the songs that we want to sing. We've written the original material, co-written the original material with other songwriters, and we've been lucky in that respect that we've had a real say in the direction of our music and our albums, and you know the producers that we work with and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like you know, because a lot of artists don't necessarily have that luxury, especially to begin with. You know, they're kind of told what to do and what to record and what to wear and, you know, how to style themselves. And so I think for us, although we have learned a lot sort of from any mistakes that we've made, and looking back on some of those sort of old photo shoots and you're like, oh, did we really want to wear that? Or like, you know, or even like, you know, looking back on some of our performances and you think, well, we've come so far, and even in terms of the choreography and the dance routines and all that, and vocally as well. So yeah, I guess the last 10 years really has been a bit of a learning curve.
Definitely. Okay, I mean, going forward then, what are your goals for the future?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, you know, after 10 years, we've really fine-tuned what we do. You know, we have a real close relationship with our fans, and we know what they expect from us and what they enjoy in terms of, you know, what music we put out, and how we react with them, whether it be on socials or whether it be sort of on our tours, on our live shows. So I mean, the goal is just to keep it on and hopefully keep getting better as well.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Jay, then, I mean, like you said, he's come into the group. What's he brought to the band?
Oh, do you know what? He's been a real fresh energy because he's so enthusiastic. You know, he's like a ball of energy. So, but I feel like that is kind of what we needed. He sort of came around just at the right time. And you know, having he's had his journey as well, you know, on X Factor and having a solo career. So
Right.
he had a lot to bring to the table. And he's got he's got a great voice, and it really complements our voices. And you know, ultimately that's the main thing, is that we all sound good singing together. So yeah, I think to be honest, I don't think we could have found a better member to bring into the group.
So I guess you'll be looking forward to introducing him to the fans on the live show then.
Well, we we went on tour.
Right.
Wow, so that's the Christmas before last now. So 2019, we did our first tour with Jay, and it was great. You know, we were worried a little bit. You know, I won't lie, because obviously, like I say, we'd had a bit of a journey, and we've got a new member and a new lineup, and actually, you know, it was a sellout tour, and everybody, you know, we had great positive feedback. So that's all that we could have asked for, really.
Yeah, I mean, one thing you touched on is, you know, bands, you know, the longevity of your career. But what do you put that down to? Because, like you said, I mean, even bands like One Direction have kind of gone their own way, and
yeah, I mean, I think the obvious thing to say is that we, you know, the style of music that we sing, it's classic covers, so they don't, you know, they're timeless.
Yeah.
So in that respect, you know, we're not a slave to like a fad or a certain style of music of a time, because kind of the music we're singing is these classic songs that kind of last a lifetime.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the one of the keys to our success, I guess. But also, like, you know, without putting too fine a point on it, like our hard work, because we, you know, we put a lot of graft in, and you know, we worked hard to get here 10 years ago. We had those 4 or 5 years of absolutely busting our guts. So there's no way we wanted to sort of let that go. So we've just got to keep staying relevant, keep working hard, and keep bettering yourself, really.
Okay, I mean, another thing you've touched on is, like you said, it's in your blood, and you touched on the Queen's Jubilee and in the same room as Stevie Wonder and Paul McCartney and Elton John. But do you remember going back what the first record was that kind of really made an impact on your life?
Oh, I mean, actually, my parents were they're quite an eclectic mix of music. So my dad was really into like rock, so like Meatloaf and Bonnie Tyler and people like that, and Queen. And then my mum was really into sort of more like musicals and like and those songs of yesteryear. So sort of the 60s and, you know, yeah, maybe songs from the 60s really. So I had all that, and we used to go on long car journeys. Like every summer, we'd drive down to the south of France. So we'd have like hours and hours of listening to all these songs, and I feel like that must have been a big influence on me and my taste in music. And you know, we cover a lot of 60s music now, and actually, when it comes to choosing those songs, which we do, I feel like I can kind of I can call on, you know, the songs I used to listen to in the car back then to think, oh, that might be a good Overtones song, or you know, that kind of thing.
Okay, right. You've kind of walked into this one a bit. We do like a just for fun question.
Okay.
Just going back to your decorating days, relating to that, and you touched on the fact that you can't decorate. Have there been any DIY disasters during lockdown or anything like that, or any cookery disasters or any? Maybe not just you, but the rest of the group. Any bad haircuts?
Well, I've been really we've been getting into our DIY here. I'm trying to think of some really disasters. Do you know what? I know this sounds like a total cop out, but I'm a bit rubbish at DIY, so we generally speaking will try and get somebody in to do it because, yeah, I don't think if we did it ourselves, I don't think it really lasts that long.
You and me both again.
Yeah.
Okay, just
we did have one of our fences. Sorry, go on.
No, sorry.
I was going to say one of our fences blew over in the garden, and it was like literally there for like 6 months because we just didn't know what to do with it. So we eventually got someone around to fix it. But yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, well, like I said, we've pretty much covered everything. Just to say congratulations on the anniversary.
Thank you.
You touched on the fans already. I mean, a lot of them will be waiting for the shows, to be gagging for the shows by now. It's coming around December, isn't it, this year? Do you have any message?
So November, December, yeah. Our message.
Yeah, to the fans.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we've said it before, and we'll keep saying it. Like, just a massive thank you, really, just for their support. Like, I'm sure lots of bands say it, but we feel like we've got the best fans in the world, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be going on a sort of 24-date tour at the end of the year. So yeah, I think we're just eternally grateful to them, and we're so honoured that we've been able to sort of go on this 10-year journey with them, really.
Brilliant. Perfect.
Nice one.